Hello everyone, welcome to this last lecture of week 9 for the course Metrics and Analytics of Marketing. In this week we had been discussing about various metrics associated with promotion management. In today's class we will be looking into a very special event related to promotion management, and that is called price waterfall. By this week we already have a fair understanding of how the different promotions or discounts are being extended to the customers by different intermediaries, or how different offers are being extended to different intermediaries or entities in the supply chain. For example, we talked about the trade discount, we talked about the consumer discount. Trade discount is something like when an offer is being made from the manufacturer to an intermediary, and consumer discount is when an offer is being directly made from the manufacturer to the end consumers. So, in case of the first phenomenon, what happens? If an offer is made from the manufacturer to an intermediary, what intermediary can do? Intermediary can either keep the entire offer with the entity and do not pass anything to the end consumers, or what he can do, he can keep a portion of the offer with the entity and pass the remaining portion to the end consumers. Thirdly, what can be done by the entity is that it can entirely pass the entire offer to the end consumers to keep them loyal for their entity. And another aspect is, like we have seen in one of the previous example, which is rare but it happens in the actual business scenario, that is the intermediary will top up the offer. Let us say from the manufacturer to the intermediary the offer is for 10%, the intermediary will add another 5% offer and make it 15% and extend this 15% offer to the end consumers, right. So, what happens actually? At the end of the day, what we need to note is that the list price of a product is not the actual price that is being paid by the end consumers. So, it can have a percolating impact. For example, if an offer is extended to intermediary, in return intermediary will extend a portion of the offer to the end consumer. So, whatever price being paid by the end consumer is different from the listed price, and in the price waterfall phenomenon we will try to look into this progression of the price from the listed price to the actually paid price by the customer. So, let us dive more into this phenomenon, price waterfall. The price waterfall is a way of describing the progression of prices from published list price to the final price paid by the customer. We know that whatever the price is listed in the context of India, the listed price is the maximum retail price or MRP in short, but the retailer might extend you some discount which they have got it from the distributor or from the manufacturer. Ultimately, I am paying, let us say 20% lesser than the listed price. So, this drop of price can happen at any stage, can happen at any level in the supply chain. Each drop in the price represents a drop in the water level, and that is why it is called price waterfall. Price drops at one level, it is assumed that the impact will be there in the subsequent level as well, and that is why it is called a price waterfall framework. In this kind of a structure, the average price paid by the customers will depend on the list price of the product, will depend on the size of the discount given at various levels, and the proportion of the customers taking the advantage of those discounts. So, what is the average price paid for one unit of a product? It will depend on basically three factors that we have mentioned. One is the list price. What is the list price? Then what is the extent of discount that is extended to the customers at various level? it may be at the distributor level, wholesaler level, retailer level, right. And then ultimately, what is the proportion of customers who have bought the product on a deal? So, if more people have bought the product on the deal, in the last class we discussed about one metric called sales on deal. So, if sales on deal is higher, then in that case average price paid for a particular product per unit of that product will be lesser. So, let us try to understand in detail these three factors: the list price, the extent of discount, the proportion of people availing the discount. By analyzing the price waterfall, marketers can determine where product value is being lost. You know, whenever you are extending a discount, all of us know that there is a compromise made on the part of the contribution margin. In a way, the business value is lost, at least the immediate business value is lost. Now, this price waterfall model helps us understand where this business value is getting lost. This can be especially important in the businesses that allow the sales channel to reduce the prices in order to secure their own customers. What happens in case of trade promotion? If I am a manufacturer, I will not dictate my retailers at what price they have to sell the product. Rather, I will tell my retailers that you take our product at a discounted price. So, it will be the discretion of the retailers what portion of the discount will be extended to the end consumers, right. So, in a way the intermediaries will have their own autonomy, and at the best interest of securing their own set of customers, they will try to optimize this phenomenon. The price waterfall can help focus attention on deciding whether these discounts make sense for the business or not. If pass-through rate is not high, in that case probably a trade discount is not worth it. In that case, if your intention is to generate more demand organically from the end consumers, in that case a consumer promotion will be more preferable over a trade discount. Now, regarding the purpose of price waterfall matrix, it is used to assess the actual price paid for a product in comparison with the list price. In case of pricing, the bad news is that the marketers can find it difficult to determine the right list price for a product. While discussing various aspects related to pricing matrix, we discussed that setting the right price is a critical phenomenon. It determines whether more number of customers will be attracted towards your brand or your existing set of customers will move out of your brand. So, setting the right price is a critical phenomenon from a business standpoint. However, the good point is that few customers will actually pay that price anyway, irrespective of whether you extend a discount or you do not extend any discount, they are going to pay the price in any case. Indeed, a product's net price, the price that is actually paid by the customers, often falls between 53% to 94% of the base price. It is not 100%. I mean, there will be some discount given to intermediaries, there will be some discounts directly given to consumers. Ultimately, the average some of the consumers will avail the discount, some of the consumers will not avail the discounts. For example, same product I will purchase from the Amazon and I will get a discount, but somebody else might go to the physical store and may not avail any kind of discount. So, in that way the price waterfall helps us understand where the price of the business value of the product is getting diminished. Now, we will discuss about various associated metrics related to price waterfall. So, one is net price. Net price is the actual price paid for a product by the customers after all discounts and allowances have been factored in. It can be a trade discount, it can be a consumer discount, it can be a all time discount, it can be invoice, upfront payment discount. So, everything will be factored in, and then whatever the ultimate amount paid by the customer will be considered as the net price. This net price is also known as the pocket price. The next concept is called list price. All of us know in Indian context, list price is nothing but the MRP that we refer in our products. It is the price of the good or service before any discounts or allowances are factored in. So, this can be the maximum price of the product without any discount, without any allowances, without any incentives. Then there is another parameter called the invoice price. The invoice price specified on the invoice of a product, as the terminology suggests. It is the price that is set or that is put on the invoice of the product. This price will typically be stated net of some of the discounts and allowances such as the dealer discount, competitive discount, or the discounts related to the order size. It will include this, it will take into consideration this kind of discounts. However, it will not reflect some other discounts and allowances such as those for special terms and cooperative advertising. What is cooperative advertising? It is something like, let us say, I extend a discount to the retailer because they are promoting my products. It can be in the form of they are putting a banner in their establishment that buy one get one sale for Nike brand, something like that. So, that is why just for promoting that I am extending them a discount, right. Typically, the invoice price will therefore be less than the list price, but it is always greater than the net price, as it takes into consideration some of the discounts and allowances, but on the other hand it does not take into consideration some of the special discounts and allowances such as cooperative advertising. Now, let us try to formally understand the framework of price waterfall. So, the reduction of the price actually paid by the customers for a product as discounts and allowances are given at various stages of the sales process. Because few customers take advantage of all the discounts, in analyzing a product's price waterfall, marketers must consider not only the amount of each discount, but also the percentage of sales to which it is applicable to. Let us say I have extended a discount. So, I know that all the customers will not purchase the product on discount. They may not be aware about the offer, they may not have accessibility to avail the offer. The time period within which the discount was offered, they are not willing to buy during that time period. So, due to various kind of reasons, the offer will not be taken up by everybody. So, now whenever we are calculating, we are looking into the phenomenon of price waterfall, we always look into the average price. So, basically what is the extent of the discount, and let us say the price of the product is 100 and the discount extended is 20%, right, and 50% of the customers are availing that discount. In that case, what will be the actual price paid by the customers on average? 100 minus 20% of 100 remains 20 rupees. 20 and 50% of the customers are availing in this offer. So, 20 multiplied by 50%, that is 10 rupees. So, 100 minus 10 will be my average price paid by the customers. It is as simple as that. So, basically it will be dependent on three factors. I am reiterating these three factors. One is what is my list price, second one is what is the extent of the discount, is it 10%, 20%, 30% or 40%, and thirdly, what proportion of my total customers, what proportion of my total sales are applied to this discount or this deal. So, this will give me the ultimate average price paid per unit. As the customers vary in their use of discounts, net price can fall into wide range of relative to list price. Let us say if I am dealing with a discount monger segment, in that case the list price will be lesser as compared to if I am dealing with a premium segment where discount is of less importance, rather they are more concerned about the performance, qualities. Let us have a quick visualization of this price waterfall model. List price, let us say it is 100 rupees. Then there can be dealer discount which will bring the price of the product, effective price of the product to 90 rupees. Then there can be a cash discount because you are paying the price of the product upfront. So, this will give you another 5% discount, that makes the effective price of the product 85. Then there can be annual rebate, so which is net of 3% and that makes the effective price of the product at 82. And ultimately the cooperative advertising, for which you are getting 2% discount, which will make the ultimate price of the product, ultimate net price of the product at $80. So, due to multiple discounts given at multiple levels or because of multiple activities, the actual price paid by an average customer is always lesser than the listed price of that product, and this particular phenomenon can be captured under this framework called price waterfall. To assess a product's price waterfall, one must plot the price a customers will pay at each stage of the waterfall, specifying the potential discounts and allowances in the sequence in which those are usually taken or applied to. One example that we can take into consideration, the broker commissions are generally applied after the trade discount, right. So, you also need to understand how the offer is being made. Sometimes it is something like that flat 20% discount, or sometimes it may be 10% discount and another 20% discount after that 10% discount. So, in that case the effective discounts will not be 30%, 10% 90 rupees. So, it will bring your price, if it is 100 rupees, after 10% discount the price will be 90 rupees, and on this 90 rupees you will get a 20% discount. So, 18 rupees another. So, 18 rupees means 72 rupees. So, effective overall price discount here is not 30%, but it is 28%. Whenever we will be calculating the net price, we will be taking all this, how the offer is being made, into consideration. The actual average price paid for a product at a given stage in its distribution channel can be calculated as its list price minus the discount offer, which each discount multiplied with the probability that the discount will be applied to an average sale. When all the discounts are being considered in the process of calculating, this calculation yields the product net price. Now, we can put the same in the form of a formula. Net price equal to list price minus discount A in terms of dollar, then proportion of the purchases on which the discount A is taken, minus discount B in terms of dollar multiplied by proportion of the percentage purchases on which the discount B is taken, and so on, right. So, we will look into it with some examples, then the concept will be clear. So, as far as the formula is concerned, price waterfall effect in terms of percentage is equal to net price per unit divided by list price per unit. So, this is how we can construct the price waterfall matrix. Now, let us dive more into this example so that we can clarify on our concept on net price and price waterfall effect. Hakan manages his own firm. In selling his product, Hakan grants two discounts or allowances. The first of this is 12% discount on orders of more than 100 units. So, it is a quantity related discount. If you are purchasing more than 100 units at one shot, you are getting a discount of 12%, but if you are purchasing lesser than 100 units, that you are not getting this, you are not entitled for this discount. This kind of strategies are being adopted by multiple firms in order to motivate the customers to purchase products in bulk, right. This is given on 50% of the firm's businesses, means 50% of the sales are happening through this discount, or in other way what we can say is that 50% of the total sales are actually accounting for this discount and appears on its invoicing system. Remember that some of the discounts are made a part of the invoice price and some of the discounts are not. So, this particular discount related to quantity is made a part of the invoicing. Hakan also gives an allowance of 5% for cooperative advertising. I have already explained what is called cooperative advertising. This is not shown on the invoicing system, it will not be a part of the invoice, right. It is completed in separate procedures that involve customers submitting advertisement for approval. Customers means it can be an intermediary such as retailer. Let us say he will come to the company showing that this is the banner that I am going to display in my establishment and I want to avail this 5% offer from your side because I am signing into your terms and conditions. Upon investigation, Hakan finds that 80% of the customers take advantage of this advertising allowance, that means cooperative advertising. Now, we will have a clear understanding, we will know how to calculate the invoice price, we will know how to calculate the net price. The invoice price of the firm's product can be calculated as the list price, that is 50 dinar per unit, minus the 12% order size discount, and this 12% because all the customers will not avail this 12% discount, only 50% of the total customers will avail these discounts, or this discount will be applied only to 50% of the total units sold. So, that is why whenever we are calculating the invoice price, average invoice price, I have to take this 50% into consideration. So, for an average product, what is the listed price, that will remain constant, that is 50 dinar. Now, 50 dinar minus what is the probability of availing the discount of 12%. So, if it is 50 dinar, then what does 12% refer to of 50? It is 6 dinar, right. But all the customers will not avail this 6 dinar offer, only 50% of the total customers. So, for an average customer, what is the probability of availing this discount? It is 50%. So, 6 dinar multiplied by 50%, that gives you a value of 3 dinar. So, for an average unit sold, the price, invoice price will be 50 dinar minus 3 dinar, that is 47 dinar. That calculation I will show in this slide. Invoice price equal to list price minus discount is 12% multiplied by proportion of the purchases on which the discount is taken, that is 50%. So, 50 dinar minus what is the discount amount? 12%. 12% of 50 dinar is 6 dinar, and out of this 6 dinar only 50% of the sales will be made with this 6 dinar discount. That is why the probability of, the probabilistic amount of this particular discount is 50% multiplied by 6 dinar, that is 3 dinar. So, ultimately the average invoice price will be 47 dinar. The net price further reduces the invoice price by the average amount of cooperative advertising allowance granted, as we have explained in the example, right. So, this is over and above this quantity related discount. It is for the purpose of that the intermediary will promote the product in their establishment. So, now I can calculate the net price. So, net price will be invoice price minus something else, minus some of the additional discounts that we need to account for. Net price equal to list price minus discount into proportion of purchases on which the discount is taken minus advertising allowance, that is cooperative advertising, into multiplied by proportion of purchases on which the ad allowance is taken. So, in this case the proportion of purchases on which the ad cooperative advertisement allowance was taken is 80%. So, 50 dinar minus 50 multiplied by 12% multiplied by 50%, that comes to 3 dinar minus 50 dinar multiplied by what is the extent of discount for cooperative advertisement, it is 5%. So, 50 dinar multiplied by 5% and what is the quantum, what is the percentage of sales that is happening with this particular cooperative offer, that is 80%. So, 50 multiplied by 5% multiplied by 80%, which gives us a value of 2 dinar. So, overall 50 dinar minus 3 dinar minus 2 dinar gives us a net price of 45 dinar for an average product. Now, to find the effect of the price waterfall in this particular scenario, divide the net price by the list price. So, net price is $45 and list price is 50 dinar. So, it is 90%. Let us now look into some of the related metrics and concepts related to price waterfall. One is deduction. Some discounts are actually deductions applied by a customer to an invoice for the purpose of adjusting for goods that is damaged during the transportation. It can be accounted for incorrect deliveries, it can be accounted for late deliveries, or in some cases for products that did not sell as well as hoped. So, I could not sell it in my downstream, then in that case I have to bear the cost of the product, that is why I take a discount on a lump sum basis, on a lump sum percentage basis. Deductions might not be recorded in a way that can be analyzed and they often are the subject of disputes. So, there can be a situation if I cannot sell, then in that case it is because I have taken the title of the product, it is my responsibility to sell it off. How can I attribute it to the my upstream, my manufacturer? So, for those reasons there is always a possibility of that, I take the discounts beforehand, so that if something goes wrong, probably I am managing my portfolio somehow. Then everyday low prices, it is also referred to as EBLP. It refers to a strategy of offering the same pricing level from period to period, same pricing level. So, manufacturer to distributor, the price will be same, the price charged per unit will be same. For retailers, there is a distinction between buying at EDLP and selling at EDLP. And what is this distinction? For example, some suppliers offer constant selling prices to retailers, but they will negotiate periods during which the product will be offered on deal with display and other retail promotions. Because if the deal is for every day, then it for the end customers it does not look like a deal. Though the manufacturer will provide the retailers with the same price throughout the year, but they will pre-decide on which particular occasion, on which particular month or which particular dates the offer will be displayed at the establishment of the intermediary. Rather than granting temporary price discounts to the retailers, suppliers often finance these programs through market development funds. There is another approach which is called high-low. This pricing strategy constitutes the opposite of the EDLP. So, what is EDLP? When the price at which the product will be sold to the intermediaries will remain constant, but there will be some contract, there will be some understanding that at which particular point of time the product will be displayed as on offer. In case of high-low pricing, retailers and manufacturers offer a series of deals and specials times during which the price are temporarily decreased. So, it is opposite to, rather than keeping the offer constant throughout the year, it will be occasional. One purpose of high-low pricing and other temporary discount is to realize price discrimination in economic, not in legal sense of the term. So, whenever I am extending a discount, let us say during a special period of time or during at a special location, in that case it is a price discrimination, right. We are charging different prices for the same product. So, contention of delving into this is purely economic, not legal or neither ethical. So, economic is that during a particular point of time the demand is always high. So, if the demand is high, let us leverage on it and increase the price of the product, or let us not put any discount on that particular product. But in some time of the year there can be low demand. In that case, I will reduce the price of the product during that period to motivate more people to buy the product during that period of time. Now, let us talk about the price discrimination and tailoring. When the firms face distinct and separable market segments with different willingness to pay, charging a single price means that the firm will leave money on the table, not capture the full consumer value. That we have seen when we had been discussing about the reservation price. We have seen it through an examples like some of the customers will reservation price, maximum reservation price for some of the customers will be $30, for some others it can be as high as $130. So, we try to optimize the price. In the process of optimizing the price, we definitely leave out some money in the table. For example, if the optimum price is $100, in that case, so how do I calculate the optimum price? In case of a linear demand function, it is the variable cost plus the maximum reservation price divided by 2, right. So, now, so if that is the optimum value, let us say optimum value is $100. So, but I had some customers who were ready to pay 110, I had some customers who were ready to pay 120, 130. So, from these 3 persons, I am losing $10, $20 and $30 respectively. So, now should we actually price this different set of people differently for the same product? So, this is a form of price discrimination, but in economic terms it is beneficial for the organization. There are 3 conditions for price tailoring to be profitable. First one is the segments must have different elasticities. Different segments are willing to pay different amount of money for the same product, because they derive the utilities that is derived by various segments are different. Marketers must have different cost of serving the segments. For example, the shipping expenses, or some of the customers are expecting a better post purchase service. So, cost of serving them are higher, and the incremental volume must be sufficiently large to compensate for the reduction in the margin. Next one is, next condition of the segment is that segment must be separable. That is, charging the different prices does not just result in transfer between the segments. One example that we can take is that my father cannot buy my dinner and apply the senior citizen discount. He should not purchase something for me and apply the senior citizen discount. So, it has to be clearly separable, of course with certain mechanism. In some of the this one, for example, let us say I conduct a workshop. So, if I conduct a workshop from IIT Guwahati, then in that case let us say I am charging a fees of 1000 rupees from the industry professional and just 300 rupees from the students. So, these are 2 different segments. I understand that both these segments are willingness to pay are different. Now, it is a pure price discrimination. right. So, now, but what mechanism I have to identify those? For example, the moment the person is claiming that he is a student, he has to provide with an identity card. The incremental profit from the price tailoring exceeds the cost of implementing the multiple prices for the same product or service. Remember that, I mean, pricing the different segments differently has a cost. So, either you have to customize the product or you have to justify the price of the product why it is discriminated. As that is a costly affair, you must ensure that pricing differently to different segment is overall beneficial. Price tailoring is clearly a euphemism for price discrimination, means it is a better version of discriminating the price. Otherwise, if you are just doing the discrimination in its blunt form, then in that case it can damage your brand image. So, rather than doing it directly, we are trying to do the same thing in a more diplomatic way. However, the latter term is loaded with legal implications. If it is discrimination in a blunt way without any value addition in the segment or without any underlying justifiable reasons, it might be restricted with the legal system of the place. When facing a total demand curve composed of identifiable segments with different demand slopes, a marketer can use optimal pricing for each segment recognized, as opposed to using the same price based on the aggregate demand. This is usually done by time. For example, subways or movie theaters charging a higher price during the rush or peak hour, or products that are launched at a high price in the beginning and skimming profits from the early adopters. A new model of a smartphone comes in, iPhone 17. Initially the price is high, at a later point of time the price will be lowered. So, for early adopters, because I get an early access to the product, I am paying a premium. Another example, restaurants and pubs. So, during the weekends their prices might be higher or there may not be any discount, but during the weekdays, during the daytime, there can be an offer like happy hours. Then it can be related to price discrimination, can be related to geography as well. There can be international market division, different prices for different regions, right. So, but there are some laws such as the dumping laws are they are existent in many countries. So, dumping laws are something like when you are trying to charge a product with a lower price than its country of origin. So, in that case this is called as dumping to penetrate to the market of the foreign country, and that may not be encouraged or allowed in that market. Tolerable discrimination, identifying acceptable forms of segmentation such as discriminating between students or senior citizens and the general public, right. So, the example that I have cited, I am running a, let us say, professional workshop, one day workshop where I am charging my students 300 rupees, but if the person is from industry, because the person is expected that the person is earning a good amount of money, so that is why not charge 1000 rupees, and because this is a socially acceptable phenomenon. So, this is what is called a tolerable discrimination. Basically, the price differences cause grey markets. Goods are imported from low price to the high price markets, and ultimately the grey markets are common in some of the fashion goods and pharmaceuticals. So, this is what is for today. I hope to see you in the next class. Thank you.